welcome. Wow, I know it's been a couple weeks since we've been here, and
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy because there's always some trending topics going on. Always something to talk about. Always some extra going on. Tonight we're going to talk about two situations, and it's crazy because me and my co-host, I'm a co-host with two women, and this involves these women.
Yes.
What's going on with these women? We're going to talk first and foremost about Carlisha Hood and her son. Everybody's seen the footage of her and a gentleman who were arguing at a hot dog stand or whatever, and they were going back and forth. And it's always interesting that we get the video or we see the video when we see it because you always want to know what proceeded to happen before that. However, we definitely saw what happened after. Um, he assaulted her over some words, and her son proceeded to get her gun, and he killed him. He killed the guy. And it's been a lot of discussion.
Yes.
This happened last week. Nobody really knew about it for a couple of days after they was already arrested and charged. Well, they didn't get arrested. She turned herself in on a Monday, and the prosecutor's office, Kim Fox, which is interesting
Yes.
if you know Chicago, later dropped the charges, which I think is kind of a misnomer because I don't think she was officially charged. I think she was just arrested because they have a certain amount of time to charge you. So it's been a lot of people discussing it. I find it to be very, very sad, very, very tragic. There's a lot of factors involved, a lot of context. A lot of people got something to say. So take it away, Tanya.
Jeez. Uh, of course, I was on vacation in Myrtle Beach when I saw it.
How was
I,
that?
Wonderful. I had a ball. But the minute I seen it, I'm like, is this one of those acting skits that these people do on social media? Like, for me, it was totally unbelievable. Um, to see that young man arguing with the young lady and then threaten to hit her. I was hoping he wasn't going to. I hope I was hoping he was just saying it to scare her. Again, we don't know what happened before what we saw, but in no way, form, or fashion can I condone the way he threw his weight in that punch and went back to repeatedly hit her. What what made me mad even more, I understand that gentleman was older. They took off running. So it's so bad that the people either scared to help because they don't want to be hurt, or they just PUSSYs. I don't know. Um, there's no way I can't. I listen. I'm in my mid 50s with arthritis everywhere, but I'm gonna have to get hit too because I'm gonna either try to help, try to get de-escalate, or try to cover. I don't know, but I'm gonna do something because I don't want to see that. I don't want to see what I saw. Period. I would have begged him to please not talk to that woman any longer, let alone she is a woman. She could be your mother, something. But it happened, and when I seen it and I put my little note under there, I all I said was he just should have never hit her. From there, you can assume what side I'm on, what I agree with. He should have never hit her.
Let me ask you because you said a word that we're gonna really address, and we're gonna get back to. You said a word, and I know that you're a licensed gun owner. So this right here is so, and this is why I say that it to me is tragic because unfortunately this is how and people may not want to admit to this, but this is how younger black women, younger black men, and it happens even with older black men and black women. For some reason, this is how we deal with confrontations. A lot of us, a lot you see a lot of this stuff going on, and everybody always wants to blame somebody. But let's just look at it from sitting back at it and really trying to observe it. It was so much ego going involved in the argument. Like what? Let's be honest. The chicken, the
Chicken.
dog wasn't that important. Whatever led to the argument, neither one of them was backing down. And that's the tragedy in this. Is like what give you the right to feel like you want to continue arguing with this young lady? Why? And I don't want to come off as I'm blaming her, but why was she going back and forth with this nut?
With a man.
And I mean that in the best way, because he clearly kept threatening her.
Yes.
And it's like you say, like, when is enough enough? Like, how, like, me and you friends, me and you intermingle. We could debate or have a difference of opinion on the issue. We'll argue, go back and forth, and talk slick. But we know at the end of the day, we mess with each other like that. They argue with a total stranger, allegedly, and this is the key point, because I
Yeah.
think that this might be something there, and I know that it hasn't came out yet, because these two individuals, the man, him and her, were arguing to win an argument over ego, and it's unfortunate what happened. That, like I said, her son got her weapon. It was reported that she told her son, and that actually was false based off the footage that we seen. And now he's dead. And it's like you said, Tanya, I understand that she was assaulted and she might have been in fear for her life. But as a gun owner, she has a responsibility to de-escalate. And that was the word that you said, that's key. Like, she's not a cop, you guys, so I'm not trying to say that she has to de-escalate like law enforcement. However, there is a responsibility when you have your license as a legal gun owner in this country. Well, what did you do to de-escalate the situation?
Yeah.
That's usually what they ask. What did you do to de-escalate the situation? And I don't know if that question was ever asked to her. We all know that she.
But you know what? From research, watching television and the news, and you see them cases where it is the opposite sex arguing and fighting, and then somebody's shot. Like you said, it would be ego that we definitely saw just to the highest in this video. So they were both super confident in what they were doing, and it was really, you didn't see an ounce of fear in her. Now, me personally, I can't be the man. I don't want to argue with him, but I'm not going to let him talk to me any kind of way. But when I feel it's getting ready to get too far, then guess what? I'd rather run and be safe and alive, or walk away, than to be dealing with what she had to deal with. So I'm saying that to say that, yeah, people get cocky with a license to carry. Not just with a license to carry, you got to have the piece with you too, in order to be that cocky. So all I know is there's no way me as a mom could put my son in a position to have to defend me and go to jail for the rest of his life.
And see, Tanya, that was one of the things that a lot of people were saying.
I've done it before when I was younger. But looking back, if I could turn back time, because I've had men come to me and disrespect me, and my older two sons would approach them. And it happened twice. And that last time said, "You must have lost your mind, Tanya." That's a no-no. you don't, if you love your child, that's not, you don't put yourself in a position where you have to make them do that.
You,
So I don't know how old she is with a 14-year-old child.
35.
Okay. Well, I mean, she's at the maturity age where she should be critically and analytically thinking.
And that's the thing, Tanya, is that when we're looking at it critical, I'm not saying that she didn't. She did what she had to do, and she felt she did certain things. I know majority of the people that I know that have legal guns, first and foremost, when they have their gun on them, they're not going to go to certain environments. And we got to be honest about. We love to say, I should be able to go anywhere. No, no, no. That's not the reality. The reality is that we have certain areas in what we would consider the neighborhood when we say the hood. And, we like the food. We like, the everything that's going on, and it's late at night. I don't know Chicago as well as other cities, but I'm quite sure that urban Chicago is just like anywhere else. That chicken shack, that greasy spoon is good. And as a licensed gun owner, and this is the key, like, nobody wants to be honest and assess the situation without being critical on her, because nobody's trying to question her parenting skills. Nobody's trying to question her judgment. However, as a licensed gun owner, she went to a place that had an element there. You know what I mean? And in that element, she took her gun with her. See, my thing about the license to carry, if you take your gun with you, you kind of know that you need your protection with you. So she didn't have it on her person, but she had it in her vehicle. So it's kind of like, where we going with this? And it's unfortunate what happened. And
Well, now, when you speak of it as she kind of knew she had to carry it, there's nowhere in the U.S. where you can't you. It's better not to carry. Unfortunately, in the U.S. today, you carry it everywhere you go. So, in that sense, ever since COVID, let's talk about it. I mean, the rise in crime and abuse and violence
mhm,
and all of that, aggravated assault, I mean, whatever you want to call it, has the epitome of, oh my God, there's no, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to say, but it is at the highest right now. So, in all honesty, I again, like you said, I have one. I have a license to carry. Do do I wish I didn't have to do it? Oh, most definitely, I wish I didn't have to. But for me, just because you got a right to carry, don't mean you got a right to just snuff somebody out. For me, I don't like that power. So,
mm. And that goes, like, to you know
I mean, I'd have just shut my mouth so somebody wouldn't have punched me in it or whatever the
but
case
see,
may be.
that goes back to Tanya. Some people may feel like she had a right to defend.
She
She
did.
she did have
She
a
most definitely
she
did.
had a right to she had the right to defend herself when she was assaulted. Is
That's
my
right. She
my my
did.
my
Me
whole thing.
personally, she should have did it, not her 14-year-old. I'd have
Mm.
said, give me a minute.
Hold
Walked
that
out.
thought. Hold that thought. I'll be right back. Maybe that was her intention. And it's a lot of, like I said, the footage. I really didn't watch most of the footage. I just was like, I know that sometimes when you know what happened at the end, you don't want to know, because it's like, a lot, we get so desensitized to shootings and murders and mayhem. I don't be wanting to see that stuff all the time. Like,
I
I got.
didn't watch the whole thing. I sent it to my daughter after I watched the shorter version, and then she called me back later and explained to me the rest of the video.
Okay. So
So,
we we
like you
we
said, you get desensitized, and you just you fed up. It's like what the.
so look, I'm gonna read something. Good evening, Nicole. Glad you could join us. I'm gonna read something, Tanya. Hold up. So it says uh, Chicago mom accused of telling son to shoot man sues police after murder charges were dropped. This is according to USA Today. The Chicago woman accused of telling her teen son to shoot a man at a hot dog stand when a man attacked her is suing the city and members of police force after murder charges against her and her son were dropped. Carlisha Hood, 35, was held on 3 million bail at Cook County Jail after she was charged last week with first-degree murder and contributing to the delinquency of a minor in connection to the June 18th shooting death of Jeremy Brown. Hood was released from jail on Monday after Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox office dismissed charges against her and her teenage son. That same day, prosecutors told USA Today the state was unable to meet the burden of proof in the prosecution. A tort lawsuit filed by Hood Tuesday in Cook County Circuit Court names the city of Chicago and 5 police officers as defendants and alleged false arrests, malicious prosecution, and emotional distress. I'm gonna leave it right there.
Okay. No, don't wait for me to respond.
Tanya, I'm lost.
Me too.
Um, with respect to how she feels, I do believe, and I'm just a layman. I'm just somebody from a couple thousand miles away. They had probable cause to arrest her. They had probable cause to charge her. The prosecutor's job is to go over police statements, all the facts of the case, and the prosecutor did what was best and dropped the charges. I don't see where this lawsuit and her being charged. I don't see where she has a ground to stand on. I don't know. I did see when they first said they dropped the charges. They said based off some additional information, and this is the key thing. I think something else is going on here. I don't know what he's involved in. It's Chicago, so it could be a whole bunch of moving parts.
Yeah,
So I don't want to look at how we do things in other cities.
yeah.
Chicago's a different animal, different beast. I
I
just
mean,
don't understand the
honestly,
lawsuit.
I don't even want to say I can't wait to see how it play out because I can.
I'm going to ask you, and this is what I thought, and never want to speculate. You never want to, but you think of different scenarios. Kim Fox is the state attorney in Chicago, Cook County. It's an African American woman, very known, very high profile. Her office has been accused of a lot of crazy stuff over the last few years. However, I personally, from what I seen, based off of what we seen, I don't think that their office did anything wrong. I think they did. Once you look into the case, once you find out that she was assaulted, I think they literally did the best, gave everybody the best outcome by releasing her and releasing her son. And
Well,
I don't know what her attorney said, and I don't know what they see that we don't see. However, Tanya, her 14-year-old son was not the gun owner.
was what?
Was not the gun owner. She's the licensed gun owner. As a gun owner, you have to have a lockbox. No matter where you're at, you should have a lockbox for your gun. Gun safety is important. Part of getting your gun license, you're going to learn about gun safety and people getting a hold of your gun. And you basically having the only access, because if somebody takes your gun and commits a crime, you're basically could be held responsible as the gun owner. I don't think that she understands how, and I hope that everybody gets a good outcome out of this. But from what I'm looking at, it's like, where's this case going? Like, you're suing. I'm at a loss for words. No, Tanya, I'm really at a loss for
And I've
words
never seen you at a loss.
because you know why? Because we know how the system does. The system plays dirty.
It does.
Prosecutor, they could have called child services. They could have took the son away from you. Even to this day, yeah, they didn't charge you and him. They let y'all go. But at the end of the day, a caseworker, child protective services may say, what we discussed, you put that boy in harm's way. You know, and I hope that she understands. And it's, I, I don't, I'm trying to understand the validity of this lawsuit. I really am. It's unfortunate what happened. However, they let you go. And I'm not saying that anybody that feels like they were falsely arrested or falsely accused of a crime should always feel like they have a leg to stand on and fight. However, a crime was committed. We have to understand it. Just because a prosecutor drops the charges, prosecutors drop charges based on not if a crime was not committed. They base charges on whether they feel as though they can get a conviction. They may have
Okay.
not.
Now, when you say that, then if that's the case, if you consider her being beat down and continuing an argument, and her son is there, and she says, do that, go get that, whatever the situation is, you minutes after, is it called, is it this is evidently not premeditated, so to them. So if it were premeditated, I believe if they considered it premeditated, I believe they would have charged her, but they're not considering that, evidently. So
I think that the prosecutor's office, and basing what they know off of the evidence, police reports, witness statements, and the public outcry.
and this freedom of speech, and hey, he abused her, he beat her,
And it's all on tape. I think that they decided not to charge, which is a great thing that this young man, her
for sure.
14-year-old son, is not charged. But did she weaponize him? Did she
And
weaponize her
wait,
son?
and my daughter said, when she continued to read it, the mother told him to shoot his girlfriend too. And
That was on tape.
and my daughter said the article said, I mean, the video or whatever showed them saying no. And he walked out, and she walked out with him. So she wanted him to do both of them, and he said, no, I'm not doing that. So it sounds like somebody else got more sense than the mom or the grown up. I don't
And see,
know.
that's the thing, Tanya. When we discuss this type of case and what we've seen in the scenario, it's a very, very interesting thing, and it has a lot of twists, a lot of context. I'm just glad that 14-year-old young man, was not charged. It came out that
Yeah, because I
Nicki
mean,
Minaj says she want to pay for his education, his college education. Like, stop
I
it.
hope so, because he's fortunate. He's lucky for
Because
coming out of this without a scratch.
at the end of the day, he took a life, and we don't know how that's going to affect him, his thought process, and his future. And
Yes,
I don't know, Tanya, to be perfectly honest with you, with this lawsuit, this ain't the end of this.
I hate when you say that.
It's not the end of it, because it's like I said, just because one prosecutor's office, now she is the Cook County prosecutor, state prosecutor, could look at it and be like, hold up. I don't know. I don't want that to happen. It's just
It can
ironic.
happen though.
It can happen. One thing that we have to realize is that, yes, her life, she may have felt as though her life was in danger, but she did not bust a gun. That's where the gray area is. At the end of the day, how did her son had access to her gun? And as a legal gun owner, she knows that responsibility that comes with the weapon. This is just, it's a bizarre case, you guys. A lot of layers. I feel really, really tragic for what happened. They, you know, Mr. Jerry Brown, you assaulted that woman and it cost your life, man. And it's
Yes.
unfortunate that your family has to bury you all for ego, all for ego,
Yeah.
all for ego. So, I Susan Lorincz. Susan Lorincz is it's funny when we talk about people and situations that are trending. We never talk about the person. We always magnify or talk about the other person or the person that's no longer with us. So we're gonna say Susan Lorincz. Susan Lorincz.
Okay.
Susan Lorincz is the Florida woman who shot through her door and she killed a GK Owens. Earlier this week, on the same day actually, prosecutor in Florida decided that he was not going to charge her with murder because the burden of proof of murder is higher than manslaughter.
Yeah.
A lot of the sites, what they did is they clickbaited us and they put all these pictures up of her, of the lady, and they said she's not going to be charged with murder. So a lot of people felt as though, oh, she's getting off, she's getting off. No, she's not getting off. She's getting charged and continues to be held in jail for manslaughter. This is what happens when a good prosecutor will look at the evidence. And like I said earlier, prosecutors, some of them, they don't just throw everything on the wall and see what sticks. They will literally go after and identify what charge to charge somebody with. And that's a kind of like a prosecutorial game because we
Yeah.
know in certain communities, they'll charge you with a bunch of stuff and hopefully one or two charges stick. But in this case, to stick to the facts, the prosecutor said that he felt as though they could get a manslaughter conviction easier than a murder conviction. Murder convictions in some states, the burden of proof is that you have to prove intent.
Yeah.
You have to prove intent. We know that a Ajiki Owens, she went to this woman's house.
Yeah.
She went to this woman's house.
Yeah.
Florida is a stand your ground state.
Yeah.
They did not let Susan Lorincz off and say she was standing her ground because that door and her shooting through the door, that's where the gray area comes, probably the intention. Was she trying to protect herself? Was it a manslaughter? Was it, aggression? Was it murder? I know Faith really was adamant and she wanted to really be here tonight for this segment. So
Yeah. I would love to hear her.
Tanya, once again, you gun owners, y'all know how to bust y'all gun. I tell you.
Yeah, we do. We do. We do.
So what's your thoughts on it? Like
Honestly, I feel like yes, she did go to her home. And in street terms, you come to me, you come get what you looking for. Come get it. But at the same time, that door did keep them separated. If she did not break through that door, if that door did not come unhinged or unlatched, I don't see why she had to do what she did. Honestly, um, I didn't see nowhere where they said the door was broken. The lady just said, I feared for my life. She was trying to break in, trying and accomplish. You can't charge me with it if I didn't do it. If I didn't complete it, you can't charge me with that. You can charge me with an attempt of some sort, but attempted burglary, attempted robbery. Well, the charges of attempted burglary and the charges of burglary,
and that's why
those
most
are two
people
different levels.
that's why most people don't know that there's no such charge as attempted murder. It's
Well,
usually
I'm just
assault.
using it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
say
yeah. And that's
because
good. That's good to know the context because what was Ajiki going to her house for? What was she trying to do? What was she trying to accomplish? We don't
We
know.
don't know. We don't know if she wanted to talk to her. We don't know if she wanted to say, listen, please. She could have been going there to settle down. We don't have a video saying she was kicking the door. We don't have a video showing she was stabbing the door or trying to bust it down or break it down. We don't have that. So, me, frankly, the lady just sat in her house, said, yeah, you could come over here if you want to. Nah. That's what I said.
We know, because we discussed it before, that they said it was some history here of some racial overtones. So this is another case, Tanya, where an outside prosecutor can look at the evidence and then charge this woman with a hate crime. Can charge her with a civil crime, charging her with violation of Ajike's civil rights, a race crime. This particular prosecutor hasn't done it yet. And if they choose to do it, that's up to them. But an outside prosecutor can.
I'm sure the history would help. I'm sure, if I'm not mistaken, they do have a history with arguing and debate and then things of that nature.
Yeah.
That could help clarify some things, but it don't clarify her being at your door, kicking it down, sticking a knife in it, trying to unlock it, taking the hinges off for you to shoot through the door.
Yeah. And they charged her with manslaughter. They said they should.
Yeah.
I guess they said they couldn't prove intent, which would have been murder. She didn't intend to kill her.
But she didn't. So when you grab a gun and shoot it, it is not your intention to stop it.
Well,
is that what you're talking about?
As a licensed gun owner, your gun and the responsibility that you have is to.
My gun don't do nothing. I do.
And what are you trained to do when you use your weapon?
The bottom line is the intent is to stop something, to stop it.
To stop the threat.
Yes.
Stop the imminent threat.
That's right. Now, how you take that stop the threat? Well, me personally, I was always told if you're going to use it, it better do what it's supposed to do. So I'm not going to shoot you in the toe.
I don't even know what, even when we discussed the last case, I don't know where this case is going to go. Most likely she's going to get found guilty of manslaughter. I think that they don't really want, I think that this is a high profile case only because of the different races.
Right. Here.
I think that this case is not as prolific and high profile as they tried to make it be. And I think that it's kind of like, yeah, she got charged with manslaughter. She's going to get 6 to 7 years. She's an older lady, and they're just going to try to throw it under the rug. She'll plead out, and everybody move on to their lives, and the camera crews will be gone, and nobody's going to be talking about this case anymore.
Honestly, I'm a little disappointed. I'm glad she charged with something. That's all I have to say. I'm a little disappointed. I expected it to be
and it wasn't, Tanya. And one thing we got to look at, it wasn't like it was in haste. Like they arrested her a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's not like the prosecutor or the police just said, we ain't gonna charge her with murder. Maybe they really looked at the case and combed through everything, and as they say, mitigating and aggravating.
Sometimes
factors.
I swear, I don't know if you just being professional or smart with your words. I don't know about you sometimes. I don't know about you sometimes.
No, I don't. No, I don't know what to say based on.
I know. That's the way I feel.
You look at this stuff and there's always some other stuff going on. Definitely when it's a history here. This is why I think that the case in Chicago, it's a history. Something's going on in that case that's not right. Like I said, if you know anything about Kim Fox and that prosecutor's office in Chicago, you'll know why I'm saying what I'm saying. But far as Susan Lorincz and Ajiki Owens, because of the history, I think it might be some other stuff going on here. Um,
Yeah.
I do think that is something that we need to look at as a community of Black people in our culture of,
Yeah.
back to your favorite word of the day, and why it's so important that we need to learn, and this is something that we all were taught. This is something that we are taught at a
That's
very
for
early
sure.
age, and something that we may take for granted as we get older. When you leave your house, there is no guarantee that you're going to come back to your house. And for some reason, people seem to leave, go outside, and the elements, the stress, working, whatever, is so intense that we forget that you may not make it home. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
even going back to Jerry Brown, what the hell was he doing arguing? You arguing with this female, threatened her, punched on her, and did all this stuff. You lost your life over what?
For
A
what?
spot on the line?
For
Like,
what?
dude, your kids got to grow up without you.
99% of the time after it's over, you find that it was the dumbest reason. You feel that it was the stupidest thing. And why did I have to?
And we're not blaming Ajiki, but Ajiki, this older woman, whatever y'all history was, what did you think was gonna happen when you went to her house? Y'all was gonna be civil?
Yeah.
Y'all ain't been civil?
Uh-uh.
So what would you think? You go into a house in Florida.
Yeah.
You gotta know how to move. You gotta know the laws of the land. Gotta know where you're at. What did you think was gonna happen when you went to this woman's house?
Yeah.
And
What
we
did
don't
you
know if
think?
she was going there with attitude and the rah-rah and this, that, and the third. We don't know that. But what we do know is, unfortunately, a lot of our characteristics when we're in those situations is that we always got too much of this.
We do.
And never saying, you know what, you right, I'm gonna walk away.
That's right. That's
Like,
right.
for some reason, we feel like I gotta win an argument with the totals. You're literally, and even so far when we talk about the internet, one of the brothers that I support his channel, he always say, who's arguing with perfect strangers on the internet? Because
Right.
when you think about it, that's what people be doing. You're arguing with a stranger on the internet. So when you look at it in their situation, Ajiki, you got history with this woman. And I know I know how everybody feel about their kids. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to nobody's kids. But did she physically do something to your kids? We all had that one neighbor that if you was playing kickball and the ball went over to that neighbor's house,
Yeah. We all had to get off my grass.
yeah,
Move.
we all had that. Him or she may have been the nicest neighbor in the world, but some neighbors don't want kids playing in their grass. They
That's
want the
right.
ball and stuff. So at the end of the day, let's just say Mr. Jones. If your parent went over to Mr. Jones's house, we're talking about a different era. Our era, we knew our neighbors, even though they might have been mean. Our parents wouldn't have went over there with that. Our parents would have went over there and tried to de-escalate a situation, if it
Yeah.
was a situation, because if not, 9 out of 10 they were friends.
Yeah.
What was she thinking was going to happen? She's an older woman. We all got this theory that older people are stuck in their ways. It was some racial history.
Yeah.
Why did the Jiki think she was going to go over there and be cordial? And I get it. Everybody can't just pick up and move.
So maybe she didn't think, maybe she had no intention of going to be cordial. Maybe.
And it's a possibility that she threw the Vaseline on her face and was like, I'm going to go get it. But at the end of the day, that
In
becomes
the end, it ain't worth it. In the
at the
end,
end
it's
of
just
at the
never
end of the
worth
day,
it.
it's not worth it. And that's when it becomes a selfish act, because now Unfortunately, she lost her life, and her
Yes.
kids don't have her, and it's really sad situation. And may her family get the justice that they want, but we have a major problem, and it ain't. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it ain't no such thing as black on black crime." Yeah, I understand all that word uh word play games that people use, and we know that people commit crime in the vicinity that they live in. We know that. I live in a predominantly white area. I know that, and it's a lot of crime here. However, majority of people don't know how to de-escalate themselves from a situation.
That's true.
I'm not telling nobody to be a peacemaker and run around and mind your business, because I'm going to mind my business. However, I'm not going to be at the chicken shack
Yeah.
at a certain time because I know the elements. When I go to certain places, if I choose to go, I know how to navigate through that. And
Yeah.
and it's funny that we've been discussing it because that is the true essence, as we would say, of being woke. Because being woke means to be aware of your surroundings, being know how to navigate and move and get through the bullshit that you have to go through every day in life.
Yeah.
You got to deal with one of them crazy, you got to deal with one of those challenged young kids.
Yep.
So guess what? Tanya okay, I got to do this day. I may have to put one of the other parents on it or my aide on it because I know me and that child and me and that parent, it gets volatile. It can get
That's right.
ugly quick. And it's like for some reason, we just always feel that we got to turn up, that we got to, and we don't understand it that the individual that you're arguing with, the exact same thing that you think you can do to that individual could do to you.
I just wish that we would move slower and think before we do something. Because if we just did that, just slow down and thought calmly, the results could definitely be different. I mean, you got to think of the consequences, what could possibly happen. As a mature adult, you stop doing things that you know or that you've experienced or that you've seen or heard about because you know the result is not good. I just wish as adults and black people that we would just think first before we react. I always text my children, stop and think, who is this going to hurt if you do this or say that?
Mm.
That's what I text them all the time. Just randomly because they could end up in any situation.
And then we say something in these type of spaces, you'll get pushback from people saying, "Oh, you only calling us out. You only calling our people out." At the end of the day, if that's what you're saying you care about, if this is your circle, you should be calling out. Like, what's the problem? We know right now. Every day we hear about an
Yeah.
undisciplined man
Give me.
arguing with a woman, arguing with women. We know that we see a lot of stories every day, and we could say, "Oh, these stories are magnified," where we see these men who are undisciplined, who lack discipline with their emotion,
Yeah.
literally hurting women. So we want to talk about it and address it after the fact instead of addressing it like, why? What's going on? Like, what's going on? What the hell was going on with Jeremy Brown where he felt as though he wanted to argue with her?
That's right.
The chicken couldn't have been that well. The chicken could have
Yep.
been that good,
Couldn't have been.
but it couldn't have been that serious. So with that, uh, we're gonna put a puppy on the show. Any final words, Tanya?
Just think before you act. I mean,
That's
just
right.
think.
My final thought is like Tanya said, you know, men move accordingly and move different. Know how to move. You're only responsible for what you do and how you move. And that's that. Appreciate you guys. Well, hopefully we'll be seeing you guys next Tuesday. I know it's been next Wednesday. I know it's been a lot. And hopefully,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna put it out there right now. Hey Faith.